World, it is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023, and looking out the window at Defiance, it's kind of an overcast day. Cool this morning, mid 50s, and I think the high is only supposed to be in the low 70s today, so kind of a pleasant day. Um, I can't remember if it was supposed to clear up or not, but I know there's some really hot weather coming next week, so enjoy this while you can. The devotion for today is Praying All the Time by Ann Cansfield. And Anne bases the devotion upon Ephesians chapter 6, verse 18, New Revised Standard Version. Pray in the Spirit at all times, in every prayer and supplication. To that end, keep alert, and always persevere in supplication for all the saints. And then Anne writes, my friend and fellow UCC pastor, Reverend Micah Busey, writes tiny prayers. He shares them on Twitter. They're short and random, and every time I read them, I think, wow, I could never write such a great prayer. I'm intimidated by prayer. I want it to be neat and tidy with words that make sense. But most of the time, I don't have words. I have a mix of feelings. For other times, there's nothing there. If we are to pray at all times, we have to allow ourselves some run-on sentences and messy thoughts. Our whole lives are lived as a big, giant, messy prayer. Sometimes within that, we need to pray the words that others write. Thank God for tiny prayers written by friends. Sometimes we have to sit with ourselves and God in silence. And sometimes we want to live out the prayer in our actions. The desire to pray is itself a prayer, and sometimes we live out the prayer in our actions. And that's enough. For man's prayer. But the tiny prayers, the big messy prayers, the silent yearning prayers, and the inaction prayers be enough. God, for you and me. Amen. Well, a few thoughts that came to my mind as I was reading this is, yes, even among ministers, people have different gifts and abilities, and some of my friends are so good at praying extemporaneously or writing down things, and sometimes I don't feel very adequate at it. But I think there's, as Anne points out, there's more than one way to pray. Different ways of putting it into action, or words, or thoughts, or even art sometimes, I think, can be a prayer. There's lots of different ways to do it. I think the main thing for me out of this is to just go through each day with a constant presence and thought and mindfulness of the world around you, of creation, of God's love, and being in the midst of it all, and in a way that can also be a prayer as well. Our very lives can be a prayer with every action we take. This devotion also reminded me that, one of the things I do is whenever I hear a siren, I stop and say the Lord's Prayer. I don't know the situation. I don't know if it's police or fire or rescue or what's going on, but just stopping and as a reminder. And you can use different things like that during the day. The sound of bells ringing in your town, if you have a church doing that. Just stopping for a moment and breathing and centering and being mindful. And that's prayer. There's no wrong. The other thing I was thinking of, there's no right way to pray and wrong way to pray. Whatever you find meaning in and what works for you, that's prayer. Hope you have a good day, and hope to talk to you again tomorrow.